Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2.0 are out, bringing in the new era of COD, which means goodbye to the old era. Gone are the days of slide canceling on Verdansk. Gone are the days of every game being connected via Warzone. Supposedly. Gone are the days of these three. But let's be completely honest, it's the same crappy campy infested, Sentinel infested game, just like 2019. Add that a little better. But since the old era passed, it got me thinking about the 3 games we left behind and which one of these 3 multiplayers I enjoyed the most. The one I put the most time in, the one I had the most fun with. And you know what game that is? It wasn't Modern Warfare 2019. Absolutely, most definitely was not Vanguard. It was Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Looking back and seeing how much I enjoyed this game's multiplayer and how truly underrated this game was, being that we were dogging on the game the whole year when it was relevant, I don't know if that's because the Cold War update broke Warzone or simply it just didn't live up to the expectations Treyarch held their games up to. I'm here to defend Cold War and give you my reasons why I think Cold War is the most underrated COD game of all time. Before we get into this bomb of a video, make sure y'all subscribe for more epic gamer content, boys. Thank you.
And by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
How to move some initiative forward, ask yourself this question first. Is this good for the player?
Reason 1. Gameplay. First and foremost, let's talk about one of the most important things in a COD game. The gameplay, obviously. And I think this is something Cold War never gets enough credit for. Because, to be honest, Cold War is exactly what everybody wanted from a COD game when it comes to gameplay. I mean, think about it. What was the last traditional COD game that came out before Cold War? It was motherfucking Ghost. Because after Ghost, we had the Advanced era. Then we had World War II, which kind of felt like classic COD, but with Divisions, it totally butchered the game. Then we had BO4, and then Modern Warfare 2019. It's been around 6 years since we had a traditional COD game that felt old school, and everyone for those 6 years has been asking for a return to the glory days. And we got that with Cold War, and I feel like Cold War doesn't get enough appreciation for that. We've been asking for a traditional COD game since BO3, and yeah, Cold War's kill streaks and gunsmith system was a little trash, but it felt the closest to classic CODs. The engine is just a souped up BO4 engine without the specialist, which makes the game feel great. It's fast, snappy, and really encourages you to move around. Something that a certain someone never did. The movement is fast, we got the return of the slide. It was much more like a BO4 slide though, and wasn't like the crackhead slide from Modern Warfare. The gunplay, although a little worse than Modern Warfare 2019, was a lot like BO4, but still brought back recoil in the game, something we didn't have for a while in the COD series. And although there was the same typical 2 to 3 meta guns in the game, they weren't dominating and unstoppable like the VMP and BO4 or the MP5 in Modern Warfare 2019. Everything in Cold War was viable for the most part. And this fast-paced gunplay even made it 100 times easier to camera grind than Modern Warfare, because everybody wasn't just sitting around. Everything went back to the basic, and it truly was the closest thing to the classic COD game, and I think it's going to stay that way for a while now, considering they're probably going to keep using the Modern Warfare 2 engine. But yeah, this game in my opinion is the best feeling classic COD game, as the movement and gunplay feel familiar, but modern at the same time. Reason 2. Maps. Maps make or break a COD game. Games like Ghost failed because of bad maps, and games like BO2 succeeded because of good maps. And Cold War strikes that perfect balance of 3-lane maps with some cool components. But although I will admit that the launch maps were pretty mid, these DLC maps are slappers. They're beautiful and play amazing in my opinion. The perfect balance. And they just flow amazing. Maps like the Pines, amazing, aesthetically pleasing map of an 80s mall that has a good flow and makes you feel like you're really there. Apocalypse, a stunning jungle-esque map that gives you Indiana Jones vibes. And when you're playing it, it just gives you that sense of adventure. Deprogram is a map from Season 6 that was super chaotic and super cool with teleporting doors, and the map just looked amazing and stunning. I commend Treyarch on their creativity on these maps, and how diverse they made the scenery of these maps. The game also had some fire remakes. You know, you got the typical like Nuketown, Standoff, Jungle, but then we got some interesting ones like Express, Drive-In, Zoo, and Rush. These remakes look amazing and stay true to the original. But going back to talking about the original DLC maps, it really feels like they put a lot of passion into these maps, unlike Modern Warfare 2019 and Vanguard. Just something we haven't seen in such a long time. Instead of it being generic Warsight number 13, I think it was one of Treyarch's biggest strengths in the game, and it really kept me playing. But I feel like if these maps came out at launch and the game just had more maps in general, the game would have been perceived 10 times better, because they were so underrated. It's such a beautiful and great reflection of the Black Ops series, and a real breath of fresh air coming from Modern Warfare 2019. Reason 3, DLC. Speaking of the DLC, Cold War's DLC was immaculate. Let me tell you, every season brought, like I said, a beautiful, amazing map, or good remake, a really cool and interesting operator, and a range of weapons. And then the best part, the events. So let's talk about the amount of content we got. Cold War got 6 seasons. From those 6 seasons, Cold War got 19 maps. Nuketown, Express, Raid, The Pines, Apocalypse, WMD, Diesel, Standoff, Yamato, Jungle, Collateral, Hijacked, Rush, Drive-In, however you say that one, Slum, Zoo, America, and Deprogram. And also out of those 6 seasons, Cold War got 22 ranged weapons. The Groza, the FAR 83, the C58, the EM2, the Grav, the Fargo 52, the MAC 10, LC10, PPSH 41, Nailgun, OTS 9, Tech 9, Lapa, UGR, ARV 2, MG 82, ZRG 20mm, Swiss K31, Street Sweeper, the Ironhide, the AMP 63, and the Marshalls, R1 Shadow Hunter, and the Ballistic Knife. Also out of those 6 seasons, we got 11 melee weapons. The Sledgehammer, the Wakizashi, the E-Tool, the Machete, the Baseball Bat, the Mace, the Cane, the Sai, the Battle Axe, the Hammer and Sickle, and the Scythe. That's some pretty good amount of content, and a variety of maps of all locations and tons of unique weapons, with my personal favorites being the AMPs and the EM2. But that wasn't the reason that DLC was better than Modern Warfare and Vanguard's. No. That was these events. These were so cool, man. Let me give you a little taste of what we got in these events. Ghostface? My man Ghostface? In Cold War? It's Ghost all over again. But in all seriousness, this game mode was sick and funny to play, especially with friends. Ghostface skin was really sleek and sick. This event alone beats any event in Vanguard and Modern Warfare combined. Also, we had the 80s Action Heroes event, which had a cool game mode. It was a little lackluster other than the play of the game. But these skins were cool if you were a fan of the movie, movies. And last but not least, let's not forget the best game mode of that year, Among Us game mode in Call of Duty. Yeah, Cold War's DLC system was pretty great. It was a pretty underrated part of the game that brought a lot of unique content into the game that we never seen before in a COD game. And I think this is going to be one of the biggest reasons Cold War is going to be looked back at fondly. All these fun memories playing these game modes with friends, and all these unique skins and maps that came out during this time. Absolutely stunning. Reason 4, aesthetic. So this is just going to be a little thing that we're going to talk about. It's kind of going to be like a combination of the previous two. And that's the aesthetic of Cold War's multiplayer. And you might be asking, what the hell does that even mean? This game is the most aesthetically pleasing Black Ops game. We already talked about how good these maps look. But these operators, these dudes were so cool and so much more worth grinding for than any other battle pass in Modern Warfare or Vanguard. They just look so cool and unique and not just a generic Soldier Number 7. And I get that's what Modern Warfare was going for, but it just make the skins in the Battle Pass so boring and not really worth grinding for. All the Battle Pass skins in Cold War have very cool voice lines, and they fit the maps that they were released with, and they did something that they never really did in a COD game before, and that's focus on the villains. These villains are so cool!
Kill the rest. Adler is mine. On your knees! Fucking now!
Bang, bang.
What the fuck?
And the game's 80 vibe with these skins made this game such eye candy. It's really, in my opinion, the best all-around artistic direction and aesthetic in any COD game. Like, I mean, seriously, the Pines? The Pines is a perfect example of the vibe of this game. It just made you happy to play. It wasn't this gray mush that Modern Warfare 2019 was. It was in true Treyarch fashion a beautiful, colorful game that you never get bored of looking at. Like, I get that Modern Warfare and to some extent Vanguard had better graphics than Cold War, but I'd rather look at Cold War's graphics any day. It's like the difference between watching a movie with realistic graphics like the Polar Express, where it's starting to show its age, and something like The Secret of NIMH, a movie that's from 1982 that I think looks 100 times better than the Polar Express, because one has a realistic look and one has a timeless look. And let's face it, as tech gets better, one day Modern Warfare 2019 is gonna look bad. I mean, it's already starting to look bad compared to Modern Warfare 2. Well, Cold War, with its timeless look, will never be outdated and will always look appealing forever. Well, boys, that's all I got. Cold War is probably the most fun I've had with a COD game since, like, BO3. And I didn't even talk about the zombies or campaign, which are both amazing. But Cold War's multiplayer was so hated at launch and through the year, and was called a step back for Modern Warfare 2019, which I think is just extremely false. I think Cold War was just a return back to form for this series. Back to the feel of COD that we all fell in love with all those years ago. Back to the timeless look, these amazing, unforgettable maps, gunplay that felt rewarding and wasn't just a beam, and encouraging the player not to camp, something we haven't had in COD in forever. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments your opinion on Cold War and what your favorite game was out of these three. And make sure to subscribe for more content. Thanks, boys.
Don't switch up on me, I got big plans. We need to forward to the island and get your gold no spray tans. I need you to stop running back to your ex, he's a waste man. I wanna know how come we can have a slash and stay friends. I blame for real, I might just say how I feel. I blame for real, I might just say how I feel.